Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. This is a guy that I've meant to have on the Ronline Report for a while, but after last year's season, he had an incredible 2018. He won 2 pro shows and was 6th at both the Arnold Classic and the Olympia. So that means just barely out of that top 5. Top 6 is also awesome. Please welcome from San Diego, Dani Younan. How are you, sir?
Good, Ron. Thank you for having me, man. I thought you would never ask. I watch your shows every day.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst. No, I get you have a great Instagram. It's Dani Younan. It's your name _IFBB Pro. And you put out so much content. A lot of you guys could learn a thing or two from looking at the way Dani puts out content, because it's great. Pictures, videos. We feel like we're part of Prep with you. We're right there alongside you every day, and that's how it should be. That's why we have social media. But before we even get into it, I saw that you won this show last year. Can you see that, Legion Sports Festival?
Yeah, Legion Sport. That's how I qualify for this year's Olympia.
Yeah, because we're covering that again. That's why they're sponsoring Ronline Report.
I'm hoping I'll be there, so we'll see.
You already won. You already won that. Maybe you'll win it twice in a row. But
yeah.
Where was the other show? This Fit World Pro.
Fit World was in LA, Orange County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was muscle contest. Yep.
All right, so let's get into the history, the life story of Dani Younan, if we can. Yep. So you were born in July. You just had a birthday, July 31st. You were born in 1991, so you just turned 28 in a place called Tel Kaif. How do you say it?
Tel Kaif.
Tel Kaif, North Iraq. And what a time to be born in Iraq. Not a good time, unfortunately. We had just, Saddam Hussein was still the president. Is that what they called him, president?
Yeah.
And this was right after what we call the first Gulf War. Operation Desert Storm was the first time. So that was a rough time for that country that for you to come around. So what do you remember? Because you lived there until you were 14, is that right?
Yeah, about 13, 14. But honestly, I don't really remember much, because like I said, I lived in Tel Kaif, so we're like kind of away from all the drama and everything like that. Okay. And then I moved to Jordan for like 3 years. So I was still a kid. I don't really have a lot of memories. So I basically grew up here in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw you started training very young, age 12. How does a 12-year-old kid start weight training?
Honestly, just like any, kids nowadays, man, all the superheroes, Superman and stuff like that. For me, my superheroes were Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, and Van Damme, all these guys. So I basically growing up just watching all the movies and stuff like that. I wanted to work out. And luckily at home, my dad had some weights and stuff like that. So I started training, but I didn't really was that serious about it until I moved to Jordan.
Now, your dad was had done a lot of weight training himself. He was a bodybuilder, but he just never really had the chance to pursue the sport side of it.
Yeah, exactly, because of the wars and stuff like that. He was in the military for the longest time, so he could never compete or do anything like that.
So was he helpful to you in the early years, like instructing you, showing you how to do things right?
Not really. I just basically was doing it myself. So. Wow.
And where did you get your information? Because you're off in northern Iraq here.
Yeah, just honestly, just researching, and also my dad had like a lot of DVDs, a lot of magazines that I just used to look at and stuff like that. But obviously, after I moved to Jordan, I joined the gym, and there was a trainers there and stuff like that. They helped me out a lot. Okay,
so you said in another interview that the Jordan years were actually pretty rough years because you guys weren't. You were refugees and you weren't really sure what from day to day if you'd ever get kicked out and sent back to Iraq.
Exactly.
So, these are things the American viewers, it doesn't even compute because, we have such cushy lives here. It's hard for us to even imagine having to worry about something like that. But you started competing at 17. Were you still living in Jordan at the time? Oh, no, you were here, right? You were here.
Yes, I was here. Here. My first show. I had to have my parents sign for me in order to compete. I still remember that day.
So where did you guys move to when you came to the U.S.?
San Diego. That's where we came. Yeah, most of my family are here. So my uncle, my mom's brother, lived here for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's the one who did our paperwork, and we came here. So.
Okay. So you were 14 when you got here. What was the transition period like? Did you already speak English?
No, I did not. It was really hard, to be honest. I started going to school But I mean, obviously, after a while, I started picking up the English part of it,
Yeah.
and here I am.
Yeah. I mean, your English is better than most people that were born here that I know. So, so you were only 17 when you started competing, and from what I can tell, was there teenage classes, or did you have to jump into like the men's open?
No, I had to do novice and open, and I believe they didn't have team back then. And I started competing when the competitions were really tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, back then it's not like they only had two shows in San Diego back then. It was Border States, and they had San Diego Championships.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays they have like probably about 10 of them a year, and it's just in San Diego.
And so you did, I looked you up there's a great website called musclememory.com. It's got contest results. It's pretty complete. It doesn't always have every show that some guy's done, but if you put in your name, it'll give you contest history. So that was 2009 was your first show, the Border States?
Yes,
Okay.
2009 Border State. And I believe I finished fifth place
Yeah,
in
in
that
the
one.
lightweight, but that's the men's
Yeah.
lightweight, and you're still in high school, you know.
Yep.
Uh, that's kind of weird that there was no teenage class because I lived in the LA area throughout the 90s, and man, the teenage classes back then were packed. If you went to the border states, the LA, the Cal, the Orange County, the Palm Springs, yeah, I mean, there was so many more teenagers, but unfortunately, when you came along, I guess
Yeah.
it had already kind of dropped off with the teens. So, what was that experience like for you as a kid, 17 years old, getting up there on a bodybuilding stage with grown ass men trying
It
to
was
beat you?
really it was really tough, man. Like honestly, I didn't know what I was doing, just basically researching stuff, killing myself, no salt, basically living off no carbs. All I was eating was like fish and like, egg whites and stuff like that. It was really horrible. But I just wanted to try it. I just wanted to do it one show. And then after that I got hooked, after competing, and then I talked to the judges that, you know what, you have a, nice look and stuff like that, but you just need to come in obviously bigger. And, after that, I just started competing.
Yeah. So, how did you even know how to diet and all that, how to pose? Did you just sort of wing it? Did anybody help you for that first show?
Posing, I love posing. That's one of the reasons why I got into bodybuilding. Just like I
Mhm.
said, watching like old school bodybuilders, like Samir Bannout, Frank Zane, Arnold, and all these guys. And I just always, I just wanted to pose. That was like my main goal, to be on stage and be the one of the best posers.
Mhm.
That I just practice over and over and over. So
So, yeah, you kept bodybuilding for a while. So, when you go to these shows and sit there, you realize most guys who compete in bodybuilding, they do not put much time or effort into posing, and it's not fun to watch. It's not exciting to watch. Did you get long before Classic came along? Were you already starting to feel like something's not here? Because if you're looking at these guys like Samir Banu, Lee Labrada, Bob Paris, these guys from the older era that were just, it was a spectacle. They held you mesmerized. So were you like always kind of wishing there was more to it, more of an opportunity to present yourself and be judged on it?
yeah, of course. I mean that's what bodybuilding should be, man.
Mm.
Anybody can work out, anybody can have a body, but it's how you display it. You like you're on stage to display yourself. And a lot of these guys, they go on stage, they look like a robot, or like they do dancing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's not what bodybuilding should be. Should
yeah,
be more like classic. Present yourself, be more elegant.
yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Right on. So yeah, looking at you actually won a couple MuscleMania shows, which is interesting because I used to work for that company that produced MuscleMania events, and they're still around somehow.
Yeah.
And then you moved up. You kept moving up in the weight divisions. You went from lightweight to middleweight. Did the USA as a middleweight, got 11th. Did the USA as a light heavy, did not place that year. So 2016 was the very first year the Classic was around. How do you remember hearing about Classic, and what was your reaction when you found out about this brand new division?
Okay, so I remember when Classic came out, I was doing leg day on that day. I
Ah,
remember I was talking to George Farah,
oh yeah,
about, he told me, I'm not gonna let you step on a stage unless we bring you in at light heavy for USA. Is really big. We need to take a year or two break, just make sure you put on good quality mass and no more suffering, because I was always suffering too, suck into like middleweight and stuff like that.
yeah.
And then I was doing leg day. I remember when they announced the classic, and I was on my phone, And I texted him right away. I was like, hey, they just came out with this classic division. What do you think? It was like, send me an update on Monday and let's talk about it. And that was it, man. Yeah.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that 2016 was the very first year for Classic. So you were among the very first crop of Classic pros, guys that turned pro in Classic. Although you had guys that had pro cards already, like Danny Hester, as bodybuilders that jumped immediately into the division, but you were one of the first original Classic Physique pros. Uh, so how did what did you like about Classic? You must have known immediately this is something that's I'm more suited to. I can express myself more. What did you like about Classic that you knew bodybuilding was never really gonna give to you?
The proportion was the main thing for me. I didn't want to push myself and just try to get big. First of all, it's not healthy. Second thing, I could lose my lines. I know I have a nice lines, nice shape, and also the posing part of it. That's
Right.
one of my main goals.
Cool. I got to ask. You mentioned George Farah. How did you meet George in the first place?
So when I went to USA's, I did the middleweight. That's when I placed 11th,
Yeah.
and I met him at the check-ins. And I went up to him, introduced myself. I say, just want to introduce myself. My dream is to one day to work with you. And he took a look at me. I was like, man, you have a nice body. I was like, here's my number. Here's my email. Whenever you go home, whenever you're ready, message me and we can talk about it. He was like, we can put on 5 to 10 pound muscle on you. You'll be unstoppable. And that was it, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do I know I've known George for a very long time. What do you like about his style, his approach? How is he different? I don't know if you've worked with other coaches or not, but what do you really like about working with George?
The thing about George, he is like his diet is so stable. Never cut your carbs. We start, when we start the prep, we started very slow, taper it down. It's not too crazy about cutting carbs, a lot of cardio. Now I'm only doing like 20 minutes fasted. That's it.
Wow.
That's the highest cardio I've done for this prep. It was 35 minutes
Wow.
fasted, and now we had to taper it down. And also he doesn't really kill you with like cutting carbs. It's not like most of these coaches, they have you do a 1 day like very low carb day and then next day give you a burger and fries and then refeed you or like
Yeah.
cheat meals. I've never had a cheat meal with George, not even once.
Wow.
Not even
Yeah.
once. Not even once, man.
So in talking to George and talking to other clients of his over the years, it seems like a key part of that is he makes sure if you're working with him that you don't get fat in the off season. You always stay in pretty reasonable condition. Like I said, you're on my Instagram feed and I see you all year. You're never out of shape. I mean, do you intentionally stay within a certain weight range?
Yeah, I have to. Otherwise he'll strangle me. He tells me like on off season, if you don't have a six pack on off season, don't call yourself a bodybuilder.
Wow. Yeah.
All of these guys, they try to, just eat whatever they want. They stop their cardio completely. They just get fat. And then when it comes down to cut weights for competition, then they start doing like 2 hours cardio a day,
Mm.
cutting their food. And that's how the prep becomes miserable.
Yeah.
And that's not how bodybuilding should be, man. It's a lifestyle. People
So
should enjoy the process.
what weight do you need to come down to, and how close do you try to stay to that weight year round?
Okay, so my cutoff, it's 200.
Okay.
Right now I'm 204, 203.
Oh, okay. Like
I'm there.
how heavy were you, like, March, April?
I was about 220.
Okay. Is that about where you try to stay?
Yeah, it's about 220, 215. I mean, now next year, hopefully, I'm gonna try to pack on a little bit more size because I'm already like only what 2 3 pounds. If I cut water, I can lose like 7 pounds. So we're gonna try to put on some more muscle mass so that way you can just be even bigger for next year's.
So 200 pounds so that mean is it 5'9" would be your height?
5'8 and a quarter.
Okay. Because I'm trying to keep it. It's hard to memorize that chart with all the heights and weights. There's a
Yeah.
lot. Okay. That's they bumped you up 10 pounds since you turned pro, right? Is it
Yeah,
10 or more?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was 176, man. When that was the worst prep of my life. I don't know if you heard of it.
Wow.
So I was trying to cut weight. I was like, so you remember I told you I was trying to go into like heavies for USA's.
Yeah.
When the class came, I was like almost 230, 225. And then when we started cutting, getting ready for USA's that year, and my body just wouldn't respond. Like 2 weeks out from a show, I had to lose about 20 pounds.
Mm.
And George was
Wow.
like, you know what? Yeah, George was like, you know what? I've never done this to anybody before, but I'm gonna do it for you. I know you're hungry. I know you can do it. I was like, you know what? Let me know. I'll do anything it takes. He literally had me on an egg white diet. Egg diet. So he had me eating 2 whole eggs for breakfast, 2 whole egg a second meal, 2 whole egg pre-workout, 2 whole egg post-workout, 2 whole eggs before I go to bed.
Oh my
So
goodness.
12. So he had me on 12 eggs a day. That
Yeah.
was it. No pre-workout, no amino acids, no protein shake, nothing. Just literally a gallon of water a day with 12 eggs a day for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then when I step on a scale to make my weight class, I was only half a pound
Wow.
under my cutoff.
So it worked.
Yeah. And then I got my pro card that year.
Okay. Oh, so that was for the for when you turned pro. That was the show you
Yeah,
turned pro at. You
yeah,
suffered. So what
yeah.
were those? I just have to ask. I've never tried to eat just eggs. I don't think I doubt anybody else has done that. Well, maybe. But what was that like? How did were you functioning okay those last 2 weeks?
Oh man, no, not at all. Like I would go to the gym. Yeah, I would go to the gym and just literally quiet, not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
People try to come up to me and talk to me. I'm like, just leave me alone. I just have like tiny energy. I want to spend it on working out. Yeah, it was really hard. But you know what? It was worth it. If I had to do it over again, I would do it all over again.
Right on. Okay. I saw on something online you did an interview. You were with the 24-hour fitness company for a few years. Are you still working with them or no?
Yeah, I do. I do. I used to be one of the managers over at Pro Fitness before, but then after I turned pro, I had to step down because I travel a lot. Like especially 2018. 17. I did like 6 shows that year
Wow.
to qualify to Olympia. So I was traveling the whole time, and I couldn't do that. So I had to step down. Now I only do like part time.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is like before every show, I take a month at least, month to 6 week off to focus. Like now for Olympia,
Yeah.
2 months off.
Nice.
Yeah, just to
Nice.
focus on Olympia. I give it all I have, man.
Hmm,
Yeah.
right on. So San Diego, very, very beautiful city, very nice, clean beaches. It's not the bodybuilding mecca that LA. I don't even know if LA is a bodybuilding mecca anymore, to be honest with you. But do you like it there enough, or have you been tempted to move to like LA or Las Vegas or some of these other places where so many other competitors seem to be gravitating towards?
Honestly, now San Diego is the mecca. I don't know if you heard of the gym San Diego. It used to be called World Gym.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
they call it the gym.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't know, man. It's probably one of the best gym in the US.
Hmm.
We
Wow.
have we have a whole entire room just for leg day.
Wow.
It's a,
Okay.
it's a yeah, beautiful gym. Now Sergio Olivia works out there too.
Well, that's right. It's
Yeah,
Sergio and
yeah,
Eddie Bracamontes.
yeah. Eddie
Oh,
works
okay.
out there too. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's
So
not that
it's
many
it's
pros
really
in gold.
nice.
You might have as many pros there as Gold Venice these days.
Yep. Yep.
My
And
opinion.
and 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 also back in the days, a lot of people, Nasser somebody used to work out here.
Yeah.
Milo Sarsi work out here. So all of these guys.
It wasn't the same gym that used to be at Gold's, is it?
Yeah, it used to be Gold Gym.
Gold's Gym Pacific Beach?
Yes,
Oh, it's
that's
right
it.
from what I remember, it was right on the beach,
Yep.
2 stories. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Oh,
used to
okay.
be, yeah.
So
Yep.
it's probably been about 100 years since I've been there, but that's good to know because I like that place. So it's the same gym. Good to know.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so let's talk about, last year to this year. So you qualified right after, oh, the Legion is in November, typically, Legion Sport Fest that you won.
Hmm.
So, did you get feedback from the judges? Because you came so close to top five, and when you're like fifth, sixth place, you're not that far from first place. It's the judges have a very difficult job because it's when you get to that level, the Olympia and the Arnold, you guys are all like that. You're neck and neck. It's splitting hairs and trying to find like the tiniest little flaws to try to give a reason why this guy got second, third. Did you ask for any feedback from the judges? What do I need to do to move up next year?
Yeah, actually, George did talk to the judges. And the only feedback they said about me was like they said come in a little bit wider, shoulder width,
Yeah.
and my tan was too dark.
Oh, no, I mean
Yeah,
that's
my tan was super dark, to the point where they couldn't really see clearly.
usually they say you weren't dark enough. So,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
so
think about the new trunks? Are you happy that these came along? They're getting closer to like real classic bodybuilding era trunks.
oh, I love it, man. Especially for me, my legs it shows better when I can show the top of my quad, that
Right.
area. They show way better. I think it's gonna be more classic looking to it, just like old days, like the 70s.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
excited.
close. These
Yep.
trunks are close, and you haven't worn them on stage yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah, because you haven't
We'll
competed
see.
this year.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But you've had all year. I mean, have you ever had this long between shows to really put it all together?
Not since 2016 was my only off season, and I
Hmm.
haven't had off season since then. The
Wow.
year I turned pro, I've been competing, doing like 5 to 6 shows every year.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I didn't go back and try to look at all the last 3 years in a row, but looking at yourself, do you see a lot of differences? Do you see that had a really positive effect on your physique, being able to sort of rest up and get recharged like that?
Oh yeah, big time, big time. Now I'm gonna be like 10 pounds heavier on stage this year. Yeah, 10
Oh
pounds
boy.
heavier on stage. My this prep has been one of the easiest prep. Like I said, I don't even have to do much cardio. My body's responding like crazy. And then my look right now, my shape,
Yeah.
I'm like 2 days out from last year's Olympia.
Yeah.
That's how tight and how lean my body is right now, and
So
way bigger.
so were you 190 last year at the shows?
192.
182. Okay. So
Yeah,
you'll do something to get to 200 to weigh in.
yeah,
But my question. So the Olympia coming up, any Olympia, any Arnold, but especially with Classic because it's a newer division. We got so much new talent. Every year there's like I'd say anywhere between 3 and 5 more quote unquote big names added to your group of guys because it's still a growing division. And it probably won't be that way in a couple of years. We'll probably get a very stable group of guys, and these are the top guys. But right now, it's like we add another great top guy every few months. How do you stay on top? I've asked the same thing of like Breon, Bumstead, George. They've all managed to do it too. Stay on top. How do you stay up there beating these guys when you have so many new stars coming up the ranks all the time in Classic?
okay. I for me personally, I try to focus on myself. I got there by by my proportion. I don't try to play size game. I just try to focus on myself, work on my weak points, and that's all I can do on my end. So whatever the judges decided to do on that day, then
Yeah,
you know can't really control what other guys do.
yeah,
But obviously judges like my shape, my look. So now that I've improved, 10 pounds heavier, best shape of my life, you know, I'm gonna be very dangerous, man.
yeah, yeah.
Me and George, we've been working so hard. We had a good game plan, and honest to God, we're gonna be bringing to the stage a Roman statue, a look, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, to be honest, man. And then if God's willing, man, um, I know I can win that show. And if I lost, I would whoever gonna beat me, it's not gonna be easy for them.
Yeah,
It's not
great
gonna be easy,
attitude.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, I know every time someone says they think they can win, there's always going to be someone on the YouTube comment says, "Oh, how could he say that?" Or, Breon's this or the Mr. Olympia competitor, same thing. But I say this to almost everyone I interview: you have to believe you can win. If you don't believe you can win, you really don't even belong on that stage because
Yep.
you don't have that eye of the tiger. You're not one of the elite. All you guys, you think you can win because you are that good and you are good enough to win. It's not like the guy who's sixth place is much worse than the guy who's first place. Like I said,
Yep.
you guys are all very, very close. You all have strong points, weak points that are different. But I think the judges, man, I've often said that judging is the hardest job in the world as far as I'm concerned at these shows. Uh, but as far as the classic division, it's gotten so popular so fast. All the young guys I talk to, and you must talk to more of them because they're more likely to talk to a 28-year-old than they are a 50-year-old about what they want to do. Do you get a ton of guys, young guys, coming up to you asking about Classic and how do I get involved? I want to get involved in it.
I do. I do. Actually, a lot of DMs on Instagram, man, and I try to help most of them. You know, I actually do help people here in San Diego posing and stuff like that as well. So,
Wow.
you know, people that want to switch from physique to classic, or people that want to do from bodybuilding to classic, they want to improve their physique, they always ask me questions, and I try to help as much as I can. So it's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun, man. Especially in this area, there isn't anybody, you know, on my level here in classic division.
Right.
So everybody kind of look up to me.
Oh, that's good, as they
Yeah.
should. You're
Yep.
the top guy in that area. But
Yep.
do you foresee a day where classic might be more popular? I think it's already more popular at the local and the regional level in terms of participation. But do you see a day where it will be as popular or more popular than maybe even open bodybuilding in the pros?
I mean, classic is popular, and I think it will be even more popular in upcoming years. But bodybuilding is always gonna be the main focus, man.
Mm,
You know, everybody gonna always wanna stay to the end of the show to watch bodybuilders.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, classic, it's elegant, it's nice, and all that, but I'm a bodybuilder at heart, man. I came from a bodybuilding history,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Right on.
So yeah.
Is this division where you see yourself staying, or do you see a day? I mean, do you ever think you might go back to bodybuilding, or are you very, very happy with and content with classic?
Hopefully in the future, man. Like I said, I'm a bodybuilder at heart, but now since I'm doing very well in classic, I still have room to put on size for classic. I don't want to push myself too much to try to rush it and go to open or like the 212s. I'm still only 28. Maybe in a few years, man. Who knows?
Yeah.
After I won a few times classic, so.
Do you, do you do you find it odd that even when someone's doing very well in classic, like yourself, or I hear this about like Bumstead, they say he should go to open, he should move to open. It's kind of odd that they would always suggest that to people who are doing so well and getting better and better every year in classic. But leave these guys alone. I say they're doing great. It ain't broke. Don't
Yeah.
fix it.
Yep.
So where can people get a hold of you? You have Instagram, your name, Dani Younan. Am I saying it right? Younan?
Yeah, Younan.
Younan
Yeah,
underscore IPV Pro. You
yes.
also have your own YouTube channel,
Yes,
which
please.
is
Yeah, if people could follow me. It's same thing, Dani Younan. I've been posting a lot of road to the Olympia, a lot of workout videos and stuff like that. So people could watch it, and
cool.
so it's really nice. I'm trying my best to put on as much video as possible there.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean that's like I said, that's if guys now have all that opportunity like this, YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff, why wouldn't everybody want to take advantage of that the way you are? Because that's how you build a fan base. You know,
Yep.
people all around the world want to follow along with your journey and identify with you, and you're doing a great job with it. Uh,
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
cool.
Appreciate it.
Hey, so George Farah, anybody else on your team, anybody else that you need to thank that's really been giving you a lot of help and support in general or just during this prep?
In general, obviously, my family. My family are my biggest supporters, man. Every step of the way. Also my girlfriend. I haven't even been talking to her as much, because of the prep. And luckily, she understands. She understands. She respects that. And obviously, George Farah. I owe all this to him. Without him, I couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
He's the best. I don't care what people say, man. He's the guru.
George is so
Yeah.
I gotta give a little shout out to George because he's so good at getting back to people. He's in Egypt right now doing seminars. He didn't need to reply to my text within like 5 minutes to give me your number, but he did because that's the kind of guy. He's just so generous with his time, and he's always any way that George Farah can help someone, he helps.
Yeah.
He's one of the best people in the sport. I love George.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he messaged me this morning. I woke up this morning, saw his message. He was like, MD gonna get hold of you. I'm like, who, Ron? He was like, yeah. I'm like, hell yeah, it's about time.
it's about freaking time. Yeah, I apologize. This should have happened like a year ago, but
It's all good, man. I just want to put myself out there, man. I feel like nowadays it's all about social media. And honestly, half of I see all these people getting like the reposts from like the biggest pages on the internet. And I've beaten half of these guys. I don't want to mention names, but they all have, oh, this guy has a potential. But some of these guys haven't even qualified for Olympia.
right,
You know what
right.
I mean? And me that I'm not saying I'm the best, but the thing is, I do so well, and nobody really mentions my name. Nobody really reposts my pictures and stuff like that. So I'm trying to put myself out there as much as possible too. So just
Yeah.
so could people know me.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people don't know you because, you know, like sixth place at the Olympia. That's not easy. Classic because you have it's like about 25, 30 guys in that, and they all won shows to get there. They're all
Yeah.
very, very good. So, you know, you're an excellent competitor, and I think more people need to know about you. And you know, I hope you win, but I say that to everybody. I hope you win because I know you guys are all you're busting your ass. You're dieting, you're training, you're doing the fasted cardio. It's a lot of work. So I wish you the very best, Danny. Appreciate this
Thank
interview.
you. Thank you, Ron. I really appreciate it, man. And I'll see you at the O.
Yeah. So everybody want to encourage you one more time to get to his Instagram. It's his name, Dani Younan _ IFBB Pro. Also go to YouTube. Has his own channel under Dani Younan IFBB Pro. Excellent content on both of those. You guys need to get fired up before your workout. Take a look at those. That's it. So for the Ronline Report, this has been me with Classic Physique Olympia competitor in 20 days, Dani Younan. Thanks for watching.